Hello and welcome to Just a Guy with your social educator, your LLB, your Looney Left bully.
That's right. It's me, Mike D, Mike Duckerberg. How's everybody doing today? I'd like to say that I hope you all had a great Christmas yesterday. To my Jewish friends, I know this is day number 2 for Hanukkah, so happy Hanukkah to all you guys out there. Today, uh, we're going to get right into President Trump, looking at how he irritates the loony left. So, what did he do? Puts out a tweet on Christmas Day, talks about Canada possibly becoming the 51st state, talk about Justin Trudeau stepping down and having somebody like Wayne Gretzky coming in. He gets on to Greenland. Hey, we're here for you, pal. You need us, we'll help protect you. He's just going out and he is just talking and calling them the lunatic left. And he even brings up taking back the Panama Canal. Now, this has the whole loony left, the media, in quite the start. If you look at the headlines from MSNBC to all, CNN, ABC, Google. It's derangement. He's evil. He's playing the villain. He knows how to stir these guys up. That's what he does best. But what we're going to do is we're going to pull out one remark from today, or from yesterday. Sorry, we're going to talk about it today. We're going to talk about the Panama Canal remark. Now, he said we're going to take the Panama Canal back because what they're doing over there is unjust. And what he had to say about that was, I quote, "Our Navy and Commerce have been treated in a very unfair and injudicious way. The fees being charged by Panama are ridiculous, highly unfair, especially knowing the extraordinary generosity that has been bestowed to Panama. I say, very foolishly, by the United States, this complete ripoff of our country will immediately stop." So obviously, the Panama Canal, it was built by the United States, and we owned it, co-owned it until 1999 when it became the nation of Panama's canal, without having the United States having any sort of control over it. Okay, so since then, of course, we know that pricing's ridiculous everywhere, but since then, it's been quite ridiculous because the United States is responsible for roughly 75% of all shipping through the canal, which makes sense because we're right there. We need to get across. It's much easier for us to go from east to west to east, going through the canal than it is all the way down the bottom of South America and back up. Right? Makes sense. That's why they built the canal in the first place. Okay? But President Trump, being the businessman he is, says, "Look, we need to get better pricing. It has to happen. We'd be foolish not to negotiate." Okay? To give you an idea, in 2021, we paid $3 billion with the B. It's $3 billion, all right, in tolls in 2021. In 2022, it went up to 3.8 billion. Wasn't able to find any numbers on 2023, but it's probably in the fours. Okay, just looking at that increase. So that's a lot of money handed over to the nation of Panama that they make off of us. And as much businesses are doing, if we're doing 75%, we should get a little better rate from that. Okay, so that's what President Trump is trying to negotiate right now. He says, "Look, if you don't want to, we're going to take Panama Canal back." Now there is another option, something that maybe Panama hasn't thought about yet. Maybe they have, and they're hoping that President Trump doesn't pull the trigger. But when they originally built the Panama Canal, it was between Panama and Nicaragua. And Nicaragua is further north, so it's closer to America, and we'd be able to make the distance even shorter. Now the difference was the Panama Canal is only 50 miles long, and the Nicaragua Canal would be 75 miles long. Now remember, this is 100 years ago, not that long ago, but about a century ago, and it took them 10 years to go 50 miles, and we lost thousands of American lives building the canal. So imagine now we're only going 25 miles more. With all the technology that we have today, this is no longer a 10-year job. maybe for some of the Looney Left people, probably like a 30-year job. But realistically, if this was handed out to private contractors, this is not a 10-year job. So we could build a 75-mile canal, do it quicker, do it more efficiently, and it would be closer. And we would then be able to have some sort of a competition for the canal system. Instead of everything having to go through Panama, them guys raising the rates. And you know what? We don't like it. What are we going to do about it? We got to go all the way down below South America and come back up. But if we can get the canal built in Nicaragua, we'll set up something similar to theirs where maybe, hey, look, we'll build it for you, but for X amount of years, we're going to have some sort of deal with you, and then it's yours after whatever amount of time, whatever they want to do. But then that shortens the length of the trips, and then it also makes for a competitive market. Because now Panama just can't say, well, here's the price, take it or leave it. Not going to happen. Now Nicaragua can go, oh, we're only going to charge you this much if you come through our canal. Now Panama has to negotiate. They have to lower the prices. And not only that, with two different canal systems, depending on where you're going, you're actually going to have less traffic going through the canals, just like, if you're looking at a bridge, you have one bridge that goes from the mainland to the island, you have traffic backed up. But if you have two bridges that go from the mainland to the island, now you got your choice, and traffic seems to run smoother because you have two ways of getting there. The same thing would happen here too, unless like Nicaragua is way lower and it's not even worth going to Panama anymore. So everybody goes to Nicaragua or whatever, vice versa. But you would actually have less traffic going through, and then everything would transport smoother. Right? So there's a lot of positive things that would come out of building a canal in Nicaragua. So this is something that I believe the Trump administration is actually looking at. It's something we've done in the past because, like I said, when they first built the Panama Canal, when it came down to it, it was between Nicaragua and Panama. But the difference of 25 miles is what separated them then. But if they had the technology that we had then, they probably would have went through Nicaragua, because 25 miles at this point, with all the machinery and everything else that we have, wouldn't have been as painstaking as it would have been back then. Okay? They would have lost thousands more lives doing that. All right, so President Trump actually does have a viable argument here that if Panama doesn't want to negotiate prices, the United States may very well have another option. And that is, you know what? We'll just have Nicaragua build a canal. Or we'll build a canal in Nicaragua. And then they can benefit in the tune of maybe $1 trillion. I'm sure the Nicaraguan government would love that. So when President Trump tweets something to get underneath somebody's skin, he's doing it because he has a plan. He knows where he's going with it. He's not just tweeting it usually just to say things. He usually has some sort of an idea of where he's going when he tweets this stuff. So if you look into what he says, there's something behind it because he knows something, or somebody informed him of something. So he has the confidence to go ahead and say things like that, right? So we're looking at possibly a Nicaragua canal and a Panama Canal. Now it's a competitive market. 2 lanes of traffic, and the Nicaragua Canal is much closer. So hopefully, if that happens, and Panama doesn't get it under control, that the cost of us shipping through Central America will go down regardless, one way or the other. Okay. The next thing I want you guys to focus in on is we know the election's over. We know the so-called blue wall, it crumbled. We've seen it. It's nothing more than a step at best. Right? It's not even a wall anymore. It's just a little step. The way it's crumbling, it's going to become a handicap. Yeah. This thing is fast and falling. Okay, and this didn't just stop, guys. This isn't just like it happened overnight. Yes, Trump was the main catalyst for it happening, But this has been over a 2-decade period that this blue ball has actually been starting to recede. Okay? Because in the last 20 years, now they do the census every 10 years. So in 2030, they'll do another one in 2020, 2010, 2000, 1990, so on and so forth. They take the country's national census, right? So for the past the past 20 years, more people have moved from blue states to red states than red states to blue states. So when you're looking at the red states and the blue states, more people have left the blue states and have come to a red state than the people leaving a red state and going to a blue state. And that number is by 9 million people. Okay, so we're not talking like a couple here or there. We're talking about 9 million more people have left blue states to go to red states than vice versa. Okay, now this is worrying the left, Looney Left like crazy. And we're going to talk about that why in just a moment. But a lead writer on economic and business for the editorial board of the New York Times, his name is, you guys know what sucking names, okay? Benjamin, Binyamin, Benjamin Applebaum, Applebaum. So we're just going to call him Mr. Applebaum. Mr. Applebaum has been looking at this trend, looking at the census, looking at the conversions from red to blue, blue to red. He's noticed that if this continues from 2020 to 2030, so it'll be over the course of 30 years now, what you're going to see is a huge change in the Electoral College. See, because the census, when it's taken every 10 years, determines how the Electoral College is set up, and it determines how many House of Representatives each state gets. It doesn't affect the Senate. Why? Because in the quick Constitution, guys, real basic, bicameral legislation, U.S. Senators, there's 2 in every state. Doesn't matter if you're tiny little old Rhode Island or big old Texas. Everybody gets 2 senators. So it doesn't matter if your population is 4 or if your population is 40 million, you're going to get 2 senators. What the census does is it affects the number of House of Representatives or congressmen and women that each state is going to have. So as your population rises, you get more House of Representatives. If your population falls, you can tend to lose House of Representatives, depending on how far up and down you go. So again, according to Mr. Applebaum, if this trend continues at the rate that it's going, 2030 census is going to look drastically different, and Congress is going to be a lot different. And so when we vote for our president, the electoral votes are also going to be drastically different. For example, at this trend, California loses 4 electoral votes. That's huge, guys. New York loses 3. Illinois loses 2. Minnesota, Oregon, Rhode Island, they all lose 1. Okay? On the other hand, the South is actually going to gain 9 or 10 votes. Okay? So Florida and Texas both will gain 4. So that's 8 right there. Texas could possibly gain 5 if the trend keeps going. And North Carolina would gain 1. So you're looking at a loss of 12 on the blue side and a gain of 9 or 10 on the red side. So now when you're voting for president and California has 36, don't quote me, 36 electoral college votes, they're going to be down to 32. And Texas, who has 32, will go up to 36 or 37. And again, I don't know what the exact electoral college votes are, but I'm just giving you examples. I didn't think it was up to memorize. It was 50. But I know California and Texas are 1 and 2. Okay. So that's a flip-flop of the number 1 and number 2 by a total of 8 or 9 electoral college votes. So when you're voting for president and the Democrat takes California and the Republican takes Texas, that's a flip-flop of 8 or 9 possible electoral votes right there, which puts them 8 or 9 closer, if you're a Republican, to magic number 270. Okay? So this is one thing that if we continue at this trend, we may see happen after the 2030 census. Right? And Mr. Applebaum says there's reasons for this. Okay? It's not just because jobs are moving. It's not just because tech hubs are moving and headquarters are moving to a lot of red states because of the taxes and everything else that they're getting because they don't feel like paying huge taxes out in California and New York or anything like that when you can pay very little or no taxes in Texas and Florida, places like that. And it's not just that. It's also teachers, police officers, dentists, people that are just searching for a lower cost of living. So these same people that they're just, even if their job's not moving, they are. Why? Because they're looking for a better life, a life that's more economically feasible for them, where they're not paying $7 for a gallon of gas. Come down here to Texas, right here in Corpus Christi, paying like $2.70 a gallon. I'm kind of upset that it's that high, right? So there's a huge difference in the standard of living, the cost of living between Texas and California, Florida and New York. So a lot of these people are moving out of these areas where they can't afford to live off of the salary, making a comparable salary. It's going to be less, more likely, right? Because the cost of living is different. But when you take that cost of living versus the money they're making, they're actually living a better life in these red states, at least financially. I don't know about what the drama they're bringing with them or whatever. That's on that. Everyone's different. Okay. So again, teachers, police officers, dentists, people that want a better cost of living, they're also coming to the red states. In the tune of 9 million extra people from blue to red. Okay. So when you see Governor Newsom, who has completely screwed his entire state up, and the man's about to put on another health emergency and start making people wear masks or whatever he's going to start making them do. You know, because he can't stand to not have the power to dictate what everybody's supposed to do and say. Okay? But this is why you see people like Gavin Newsom coming out and saying, nope, we're a sanctuary state. You're not taking the illegals. Because they want the illegals to be counted on the census so they don't lose electoral college votes. That's what this is all about, guys. That way, they can keep their electoral college votes. And they can have a bunch of illegal voters. Right? That's why you're seeing a lot of the Looney Left say the electoral college has to go because they know over the past 2 decades they've been losing people to the red states. And they're not turning blue, guys. These red states are not turning blue. Texas in 2024 is more red now than it was in 2018. I'm just comparing this to the Senator Ted Cruz's numbers. Okay, President Trump is an anomaly. He does amazing things everywhere he goes. So I'm looking at the Senator Ted Cruz thing. It was a swing of almost 20 points in favor of Senator Ted Cruz. Right, so looking at states like Texas getting more red, Florida getting more red, New York, for the first time, New York was within 6 points of going red. That hasn't happened since 1980, Ronald Reagan. Right? California, when you look at the map and you look at the districts, California has huge red spots now. So as these Looney Left are leaving, their states are becoming weaker, and the red states are getting more powerful. And a lot of these red states, with a couple of exceptions, you know, you got the wonderful Attorney General Fannie Mae in Georgia, screwing everything up there, right? And you know, Georgia has issues counting votes, and North Carolina and Arizona. Arizona's got a huge population now, and they unfortunately got turned blue. Okay? But it is what it is. But this is why the Looney Left is worried about the electoral college and they want to get rid of it. Because when you go just based on population and the popular vote, realistically, you only have to hit top 20, 25 cities in America when you're campaigning as president. That would be it. So if you win the top 20, 25 cities in the United States, you can realistically win presidency. So you want these little blue dots, 20 to 25 of them, spread all throughout the United States to dictate what's going on for the rest of the United States, which is incredibly surprising, right? Doesn't make any sense. But when your power's at stake, when your vote's at stake, and everything that you piss, whine, and moan about is at stake, they're going to take the ball and go home. They're going to change the rules at the last minute like they always do. When the Looney Left doesn't get their way, they whine, they piss and moan, just like LeBron. They cry about it, and they take the ball and they go home. And they ask for the rules to be changed so that they can win. Right? So that's why, over the course of the past 2 decades, you're seeing red states become redder, blue states get weaker. The blue wall has essentially crumbled from a wall to a step. And now they're asking for the Electoral College to be unconstitutional because it's unfair. But one of the fairest things we got. And besides that, if you get rid of the Electoral College, AOC won't have a degree anymore. Because I'm pretty sure that's where she thinks she graduated from. Right? So, now when you look at Joe Biden's first 2 years in office, APM Joe, 1 million voters throughout 43 states changed their registration from Democrat to Republican. So from 2020 to 2022, the Republicans gained 1 million voters. Democrats lost 1 million voters across 43 states. Then you come to 2024 and you saw the results. Trump in a landslide. I know they say the popular vote is closer to what it was, but I don't. I have a little bit of doubt for that. But anyway, you also have senators like Joe Manchin. He is on his way out. This is his last term. He is the senator from West Virginia. He was a staunch Democrat from Monday. This year, 2024, he decided to drop the Democrat Party and go independent. He's not Democrat, he's not Republican. But he is reading them the riot act on the way out. He is just letting them know what big old POSs they truly are. He'll admit it. He'll tell you this Democrat Party is nothing more than socialist, Marxist, and communists, just like Mike Zuckerberg, just the guy has been saying since that got on. He says they're so far left, they're so crazy, they're so insane that you can't even agree that there's two genders. Right? They're just so far out there. And that's the base that Democrats, Socialist, Communist, Marxist Party favors. Not the people in the middle, not the people with the common sense, not you guys. These Looney Left. That's who the Democrats, the Socialist, Marxist, Communist Party is going out there, recruiting, backing up, anti-Semitic, anti-American, peace-loving, hate. People full of hate. Right? So, even Joe Manchin, who was a lifelong Democrat, has now left the Democrat Party. You saw Tulsi Gabbard leave as well. But Kay Jr., he left. So they're losing a lot of people. They're losing as many politicians as they are voters. Right? So that just shows you. Speaking of anti-Semitic, let's talk about the world's favorite climate change hoax spokesperson, Greta Thunberg. She's known as a climatologist or whatever, climate change guru or whatever they want to call her. She's now known as Greta Thunberg, the anti-Semitic. See, because she's now 21 years old. She kind of speaks for herself now. And instead of being all about the environment, and don't get me wrong, she still goes out there, and travels on planes and trains and vehicles and everything else and tries to save the world or whatever the hell she thinks she's doing. Right? But lately, she's called for crushing Zionism and repeatedly accused Israel of genocide. Now, she was in Mannheim, Mannheim, Germany, where she's up there speaking, and she publicly cursed out the nations of Israel and Germany. I mean, using profound swear words, letting German government know that she is not with their support of the Jewish state of Israel. Vanity Laced diatribe is going off on how horrible Germany is because they're backing the Jewish state of Israel. Okay? Now, this isn't her first time, guys. This isn't the first time she's done this. October 2023. Hamas, Hezbollah, a bunch of terrorists go in. Single biggest day of Jews being killed outside the Holocaust. Right? Greta Thunberg, the anti-Semitic, goes up there pretty much immediately following the massacre and stood against Israel. Now, again, they're the victim here. They were minding their own business. These guys come in on paragliders, parasails, whatever you want to call them, and they come in and they kill, slaughter, kidnap over 1,200 Jewish people in Israel. But yet she's standing on the opposite side of Israel, telling them they're the ones that are committing genocide and that they're not the victim. Okay? Last September, she's arrested during a protest at Copenhagen University. It was organized by students against the occupation that demanded the school cut off ties with Israel. So again, we're seeing a pattern, right? In May, she was at Stockholm University, demanding Stockholm University cuts all ties, agreements, and collaborations with the genocidal apartheid state of Israel. Her words, not mine. So not only does she hate people that, drive fossil fuel vehicles, she must hate people with cell phones, people that use makeup, people that use that wear things made of plastic, people that wear clothes, people that eat. She must hate all you guys because you're killing the planet. But she especially hates you Jewish, apartheid, genocidal Israelis. Absolutely despises you guys. Now she tries to back it up and she goes, I'm against the horrific attacks by Hamas. And even in one of her social media posts, she had a anti-Semitic symbol in there, and she denied the knowledge of it. Come on now, Greta. I know you're stupid because I can see when you talk about this climate change hoax, you don't know a damn thing. But as much anti-Semitic rhetoric as you're spouting, and you're going to universities and speaking, and you're going to places in Germany and speaking, you know what the anti-Semitic symbols are. And it's like, oh, but the horrific attacks by Hamas. Immediately after October 2023, you were talking about the horrific attacks by Hamas. You were talking about the genocidal Israeli nation, and that they're not the victim. So you see, when you give somebody a microphone, you get to see who they really are. If you want to know who Greta Thunberg really is, she is a Jew-hating, anti-Semitic POS. It's exactly what she is. Guys, that's all I got for today. I'm trying to make it quick. I hope you guys all enjoyed your Christmas last night. And again, for my friends that are celebrating Hanukkah, hope you're having a great Hanukkah. I know this is night number 2. And hope you have the very best of the rest of the days of Hanukkah here, about 6 more. So, to each and every one of my friends, everybody listening, you know I'm going to pray for you. I love you. Always give God His grace. For everybody that's listening to me, follow me on Rumble at Just the Guy Mike B, on YouTube at Just the Guy, and please like and subscribe. We're on Facebook. Share it. Let's get this out. We need more social educators like you. We need more people like each and every one of you guys out there educating everybody. So until next time, see you Sunday.